Good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you out to this meeting of the Flagler County Planning and Development Board. The first item on our agenda is the roll call. Madam Secretary.
Ron Long. Here. Michael Goodman. Here. Anthony Lombardo.
Here.
Mark Langelo.
Here.
Dan Wilcox.
Here.
Michael Board.
Here.
We do have a full quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Would you all please join us as we stand and pledge the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item is the approval of the September the 9th meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion to approve. Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
There it goes. Now it's on, okay.
This tonight is a quasi-judicial process. The audience should refrain from clapping, booing, or shouts of approval or disapproval to avoid potential legal ramification and possible overturning of a decision by the courts. A public hearing must be fair in three respects: form, substance, and appearance. The time limits will be observed. Staff has a 10-minute time limit on their presentation. The applicants have a 15-minute presentation. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes unless you're speaking for an entire group, then you have 5 minutes. The applicant has, and closing staff comments can be 10 minutes. Did you want to say something, Ms. Simone, before we get started?
Please. Hannah and I attended the Florida APA conference last month, and also because we have had a couple issues with appeals lately, we did want to provide some more information on the quasi-judicial process. So that's all on the handout that's in front of you. It is also linked in the agenda and will be linked in the agenda from now moving forward, just for some reference information for the public. Really just wanting to highlight that the quasi-judicial process is the application of a rule, policy, or legislation on the basis of substantial competent evidence and what constitutes substantial competent evidence. Another thing we wanted to highlight was ex parte disclosures. Ex parte communication does mean whether or not you have communicated with any of the applicants on their items, but it also means more than that. If you have gone to the site, that must be disclosed. If you have reached out or talked to any other experts regarding an application, that must be disclosed as well. The intent being that the public and anybody who attends the hearing has the right to know all the information that you do, all the information that you are basing your decision on. So we just wanted to bring that to your attention and highlight it. And sometimes people get confused about what the quasi-judicial process is, so we just wanted to kind of provide that information on the forefront.
Okay, thank you. Item number 4 is quasi-judicial. Does any member of the board have anything to report on that item?
No, sir.
Seeing none. This is project number 2025-080029, a request for a variance in the agricultural district. Ms. Simone.
I do think I had made an error in the agenda, so I had revised it, just the applicants' names, and so it'll be reversed. We'll do item number 5 first.
Want us to go to item number 5?
Please.
Okay. Any member of the board have anything to report on this item?
Nope. No.
Okay, this is project number 2025-080080, a request for a variance in the R1 Rural Residential District. Ms. Simone.
Thank you. Simone Kenny, planner. This property is located up in the Hammock in the Marineland Acres subdivision. The future land use is residential, low-density, rural estate. The zoning is R1 Rural Residential. It is in a particular flood hazard, being located in flood zone AE. The soils are primarily sands, and there are no wetlands on the property. The applicant submitted an application for a variance on behalf of the owners on August 15th to exceed the maximum impervious area and to reduce the minimum required rear setback from 20 feet to 14 feet in order to accommodate a roofed porch. The subject property is an undersized lot of record, and it is subject to the Marineland Acres Special Stormwater Overlay, which requires all lots to have at least 60% pervious area. The overlay also requires that all impervious and semi-impervious areas be set back at a minimum of 10 feet from all side and rear property lines. And the subject property is bounded on the north by Ocean Street and on the south by Seascape Drive. The original request was for a 9-foot by 14-foot roofed porch located at the rear of the property and located 11.83 feet from the rear property line. The applicant did provide the impervious calculations and found that the impervious area without the proposed porch was 50.2%, which is already exceeding the maximum allowed impervious area in the overlay by 10.2%. The current exceedance of the maximum allowed impervious area is most likely because the dwelling was built prior to the adoption of the Marineland Acres Special Stormwater Overlay. With the proposed porch, the impervious area would total 52%. The applicant was then informed by staff at our TRC meeting that a rear setback variance would also be necessary to accommodate the roof structure, and the applicant came back and informed staff that the owner would be amenable to reducing the size of the proposed porch from 9 feet to 12 feet. The reduced porch would then require a 6-foot rear south setback variance from the minimum required 20-foot rear setback and an 11.7% impervious area variance from the maximum allowed 40% impervious area requirement. And then precise calculations in regards to the impervious area as well as on-site stormwater retention would all have to be provided at the permitting step as well. So again, to summarize, this property is just under 10,000 square feet, which does make it an undersized lot of record. It is Lot 5 of Block 2 of the Marineland Acres subdivision. The specific requests are for a 6-foot rear south yard setback variance from the minimum required 20-foot rear yard setback and an 11.7% variance to exceed the maximum allowed impervious area. This is a before-the-fact variance request, and no public comments or objections have been received. Reading our variance criteria into the record, the first asking that there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. The subject property had the initial structure and the current exceedance of the impervious area because it was built prior to the adoption of the overlay. The lot is also an undersized lot of record. Number 2 asks that such conditions were not created by the affirmative actions of the applicant. Again, the nonconformance is most likely due to the single-family dwelling predating the overlay. Number 4, the variance if granted would not cause substantial detriment to the public health, welfare, safety, and morals of the community. The proposed roof porch would still need to be permitted. At that time, they would need to show that they will meet all the requirements of the land development code, including the overlay. Number 4, no variance may be granted for use of land or building that is not permitted. A roofed porch attached to the primary dwelling is a permitted use in the R1 district. And finally, the variance if granted shall be the minimum variance necessary to alleviate the hardship. The applicant and owner were willing to reduce the size of the requested variance, and therefore is the minimum variance necessary. Your options as the board are to find that all the variance criteria have been met and therefore approve project 2025080080 for a 6-foot rear south yard setback variance from the minimum required 20-foot rear yard setback and an 11.7% impervious variance from the maximum allowed 40% impervious at 38 Ocean Street. Or you can determine that all the variance criteria as listed have not been met and therefore deny the project. or you can determine that more information is needed and continue the request to a time and date certain. And with that, I will close out, awaiting any questions, or comments from the board, and submit my report for the record.
Thank you. Any board member have any question for staff?
have one question.
Yes, sir.
So they're doing the 9 by 12, correct?
I thought 14.
No, but
Once we told them that they wouldn't also need a variance for the rear setback, they came back and reduced the size and requested the 9 by
So
12.
how does that affect, it was 50.2, so how does that affect it when you went to 9 by 12 instead? Did you do new calculations on?
But I believe I did them 50.2 on the reduced size. I believe it was slightly more when it was 9 by 14.
I have a question for staff. At this time, the majority of the setback problems and the drainage problems we're seeing are a result of this lot having applied to it after its construction, the MOA. Is that correct?
That's what
The
we
Marine
believe,
Overlay
yes.
Overlay District? Okay. Is there room on this lot to address some of the needs for that stormwater requirement? Or are they completely maxed out with sewer and all that? I know they've run out of room real quick up here when they start putting in sewer and all the things to put in the stormwater. I don't know. I'm just asking, is there a way to begin to bring this one in conformance with more of the MOA, and with this little variance in back, would it be efficient or effective even to try to do that? I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
I believe so. Again, that would need to be more specifically addressed at the permitting stage. It would be
I
about
understand.
120 square foot more of impervious.
We're not at that point with our information on this project yet.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. But the problems are the result of the MOA hitting this one after it was already built.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Does the applicant wish to come forward, make a statement at this time? No? Okay. We'll open it to the public. Any member of the public wishing to comment on this agenda item? Seeing no one come forward, we'll close public. Is the applicant here? No? Okay, thank you. What's the pleasure of the board?
My opinion is that this is the result of the MOA having been applied after this was constructed. And so we see the effects of that applied to this, and it's to their detriment. I would suggest that we move forward with an approval.
I have a question. I mean, I would like to ask the applicant, are they going to have gutters around that structure
Yeah.
for stormwater? And I mean, there's questions that
That's where I
I
was
would
gonna
have
go as
had
well.
for the applicant, but they're not here, so I don't know. I don't
Can
know.
you condition that on the approval? Say, look, the move is to do this if they do that. Can we do that, staff?
Well, if I can, it looks like that the structure would pitch towards the back is where they were
Yeah,
showing their water to go. And is that, I don't know if that's the holding area? Is that their stormwater holding area in the back?
There's a road right,
No,
believe
Seascape
so.
has its own stormwater system. It's
a
its
road
own
right
in-
behind it.
Place.
Where?
Seascape has its own stormwater design. It's its own stuff on there.
Yeah, but they don't have to have a holding area on the lots themselves?
That's what,
They do, yes.
now they do. But when they built this house, they didn't.
So with
They don't have to have any kind of retention area on the property, because they're showing this to be like an A-style Palm Coast, where it's all going around the back. And so that water's going to drain theoretically off to the area where it's then flowing. But I think your first comment was, is there room for that on there? I don't know if we have that information. And I don't know if we grant the variance and they say they don't have the room, how does that work? Is there an engineer that's going to be, doing an application for them to show that they can do that, or what? Or we don't bother with that? We're just going to let them drain the water,
That's what I was
goes
wondering. I
where
was
it
asking
goes?
that question. Can we condition an approval on them being able to meet that standard? I'm looking, I guess.
they would
Mike
have
said
to
look.
at their permitting phase. So any
So we can approve
new
it
runoff
with the
created would
condition
have to be
that-
retained on site due to the overlay, and that would all have to be engineered and shown when they apply for their permit.
And that's just automatically, that's not with us putting any type of restrictions on this approval. They have to meet that whether, no matter what we do here. Well, if we approve this as is, they still have to meet all those restrictions. We don't need to put any type of restrictions on our approval.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And Susan Graham is the one who would be inspecting this
Yes.
permit, even for a little accessory structure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
You're the one who talked about it, so.
I'll make a motion to approve. If
second.
if we have the opportunity to put the MOA on track with it, I'd say to approve it.
I agree. I'll
Okay, we
second
have a
that.
motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
We got a roll call.
We're going to continue on with the roll call votes.
Okay,
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. The motion on the floor is to approve. Ron Long,
Aye.
Dan Wilcox,
Aye.
Michael Goodman, Mark Langelo,
Aye.
Anthony Lombardo,
Nay.
Michael Boyd.
aye,
The ayes do have it. The motion does carry.
thank you. Now we're going to item number 4.
If I can, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir,
are
go
we
ahead.
doing roll call votes on every vote now?
Yes, moving
Is
forward.
there a purpose for that?
I think the intent is to make sure the minutes are very clear and concise.
Okay.
Because we did have an issue on one of the appeals. So we're just going to keep it nice
If
and
it's
clean.
possible, I'd like to set a time aside with you guys sometime in the next several days to be able to go over the ex parte communication part.
Sure.
That makes me uncomfortable. A lot of these projects we see, I have seen some history on them. I don't know where to draw the line.
Okay.
If
You can
you'd
sit
help me
down.
out with that, I'd appreciate it.
Of course.
Okay, back to item number 4.
The border.
This item's also quasi judicial. Does anyone have anything to report on this item?
No, sir.
Okay, this is project number 2025080029, a request for a variance in the agricultural district. Ms. Simone.
Thank you. This lot is about just over 10 acres and is located in the Sweetwater Unit 1 subdivision. The future land use, currently on our future land use map shows conservation, but as we'll discuss in the plat, this conservation area is due to back in, is it 2004? The county went through, delineated all of its wetlands and changed the future land use to conservation. However, when this subdivision was platted, they went through again and more closely delineated the wetlands. And those wetlands were dedicated as conservation easements to the St. Johns River Water Management District, and our future land use map just wasn't updated. The zoning is agricultural, and the subject property does have a special flood hazard being located in the AE flood zone. The soils to the rear, as you'll see, are depressional, which are indicative of wetlands, and towards the front are fine sands. And here we can better see where the wetlands actually are. So again, this property is Lot 24 of the Sweetwater Unit 1 plat. In the plat, the lot is so big that it's split across 2 plat pages. So on the left-hand side is the northern part of the lot. You can sort of see the outline of the conservation wetland easement there. And then the southern part of the lot is on the right-hand side. It's pretty much entirely wetland. So of the 10.5 acres, about 9 is wetlands. The owner submitted an application for a variance on August 8th to reduce the minimum required left east side setback from 25 feet to 15 feet to accommodate for a detached garage. Again, while the subject acre is just over 10 acres in size, there are substantial wetlands covering the majority of the property. These have been delineated as a conservation easement and dedicated to the St. Johns River Water Management District. And as a result, only about 1.3 acres of the total 10-acre lot are buildable. As shown on the submitted site plan, the owners are proposing to place a single-family dwelling in the center of the buildable area. Here it's reversed, north being at the bottom of your screen. Proposed to place the dwelling 10 feet away from the upland buffer, which is the limits of the conservation easement. Although they could build right up to the upland buffer, they wanted that 10-foot space because as the property is located in a flood zone, they'll most likely have to fill in and raise for the dwelling, and they wanted enough room for grading around the dwelling without touching that upland buffer. And the owners also propose a 65 by 40-foot detached garage, here it is more closely, intended to house their RV. The owners have provided that the access doors will be on the west side of the dwelling facing the house, and that a 30-foot separation is necessary to be able to maneuver the RV in and out. With a depth of 40 feet, the proposed garage would then be located 15 feet from the left east side setback, which is an encroachment of 10 feet, prompting the need for the variance. So here I've highlighted on the right-hand side that 10-foot separation between the corner of the dwelling and the limits of the upland buffer, again, to allow for grading around the house. 30 feet between the dwelling and the proposed detached garage, which leaves them 15 feet between the detached garage and the left-hand property line. So again, to summarize, the property is just over 10 acres, lot 24 of Sweetwater Unit 1 subdivision. Approximately 9 acres are wetlands delineated as a conservation easement. And so the specific request is for a 10-foot left east yard setback from the minimum required 25-foot side yard setback for a detached garage. This is a before-the-fact variance request, and staff has received no public comments or objections thus far. So again, reading our variance criteria into the record, number one, asking that there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions. Staff found that the prevalence of approximately 9 acres on the 10-acre lot of wetlands is an extraordinary and exceptional condition. The buildable area of the property is drastically reduced, resulting in increased difficulty in maintaining the minimum required setbacks and is thus a hardship. Number two asks that the conditions were not created by the affirmative actions of the applicant. The prevalence of the wetlands and the resulting conservation easement were delineated, again, on the plat and are not created by the affirmative actions of the applicant. Number three, the variance if granted would not cause substantial detriment to the health, welfare, safety, and morals of the community. Provided that none of the neighbors expressed any concern or opposition to the variance, staff will assume that the requested variance will have minimal impact on neighbors and would not cause substantial detriment to the public health, welfare, safety, and morals of the community or impair the purpose and intent of this article. Number four, no variance may be granted for use of land or building that is not permitted. An accessory structure is a permitted use in the agricultural district. And then finally, a variance, if granted, shall be the minimum variance necessary to alleviate the hardship. Based on the applicant's stated need of a 30-foot separation between the accessory structure and the proposed single-family dwelling, and the intent to leave the upland buffer undisturbed, the requested variance is the minimum relief necessary. And so your options as the board are to find that all the variance criteria as listed have been met and therefore approve project 2025080029 for a 10-foot left side east yard setback variance from the minimum required 25-foot side yard setback at 108 Creekside Drive. Or you can find that all the variance criteria as listed have not been met and therefore deny the project. Or you could determine that more information is needed and continue the request to a time and date certain. And with that, I will close out, awaiting any questions or comments from the board, and submit my report for the record.
Thank you, ma'am. Any member of the board have a question for staff? Not, we'll,
Could you put the plot up again of Not not that one,
The aerial?
the aerial.
There, it looks like the rendering of the house is reversed from what that is.
Right. So there's, I'm trying to think
Neighbor is
here.
on the-
There is a neighbor
The neighbor is on the side of the garage.
of the garage.
Yeah.
And they're not here tonight.
Okay, well, we'd like to invite the applicant to come forward.
They're here tonight. Okay.
Come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record, please.
We need to give the, sorry, we can save it for the public comment, but we need to give the applicant the opportunity first.
Oh, they're the
But he was the
applicant.
applicant.
I thought he was the applicant.
You're the applicant? Oh, would you like to come
Come on
forward?
up.
Hello.
But before you begin, we would like to swear anybody in who intends to testify today. So if you have any comments or testimony to give to the board, if you would please stand and raise your right hand.
Any of you who intend to speak today,
Do you swear that the testimony you're going to give today is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may continue.
state your name and address for the record, please.
Wilbur Fair, future address 108 Creekside.
Go ahead. Is there anything you'd like to say to us other than what?
No,
Simone said.
it was presented very well. We're just in a situation where originally we thought the buffer area was something we could grade into and found out that we could not. So the smaller area we have, shifting everything over really was a hard option for us. So we're just asking for this variance for that reason.
Okay. Any member of the board have a question for the applicant? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I do have a question.
Step back, please.
The 30-foot between the house and the garage, that was determined what you need to, or that building in the back. What is that building in the back, a garage?
Yes.
Okay. That 30-foot is what you needed to operate vehicles, to turn them around or whatever, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll open it up to public comments. If you'd like to come forward, member of the public, state your name and address for the record.
I'm Henry Ellis. I live at 110 Creekside Drive, just east.
Is that right beside him?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm the east border there. I'm just here to learn more about it. We just recently moved in. I wanted to just be abreast of what's going on, and but I have no statements right now.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that he wants to build part of his structure within the setback, which means closer than normal to your lot, within 15 feet of your lot?
Yes, sir.
And you don't have an objection to that?
I would like to have an open discussion. At some point, we're going to need a structure similar to yours, and we were thinking, going side by side with them. And, I just, in the future, if I want to put something similar up against yours and we gravel between them, that's kind of what we were thinking. That way y'all they just butt up to each other. You're looking at yours, we're looking at ours. And so I don't know, this is my first time one of these. I don't know how this process works. I was just here to get educated and kind of have brainstorm a little bit about our future plans, their plans. But most important is, our relationship. So I just want to work with y'all and everyone be happy.
Okay, you understand that any kind of negotiation you're just talking about with him is not part of this hearing?
Yes, sir,
But
I
it
do.
is a good neighbor policy, and I personally like it. I like what you're doing.
Yes, sir, I do. And
All right.
like I said, my main reason here was just to get educated exactly what they were planning on doing. And so that's
Okay.
that's
Thank you.
where I'm at.
It seems like, just if I'm looking at the plat correctly, you got quite a bit of room on your side over there, on the side that your neighbor's going to be building that structure on. You have a lot more space, it seems like, than he does. So you might not, you probably wouldn't even need to come for any type of variance or anything like that. I don't think, depending on the size of the building that you're planning on putting up there. But that's just from what I'm seeing from that aerial.
Sure. And my idea would be to, kind of get it as close to the property line as possible. We actually plan on getting she has horses back in Colorado with her parents. We have to bring those in. So at some point, I have to go through the process of getting a fence permit and everything, and more pasture, the better. So that would be my justification in wanting to move the building over.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, we'll close public comment and go to the board.
It seems that the applicant does have an issue with the lot. It's a long, skinny lot with mostly unbuildable.
Yeah.
We just heard from the neighbor has an existing structure, which, as you said, Anthony, is on the opposite side. He doesn't seem to be opposing it. So I think that, and it is, the wetlands on the lot make it a unique, to meet our criteria number 1. So I don't have a problem with this variance.
Is that a motion we hear, Mr. Langella?
No, I was just discussing it, that's all.
Sounded like a motion.
Sounded like a motion to me.
I'll make a motion to approve it as written.
There was
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Madam Secretary?
Thank you guys for being cooperative with one another. That's important. That's a tough little place to
We
build.
don't see
up
that
there.
a whole lot up here.
No, we don't.
The motion on the floor is to approve. Ron Long,
Aye.
Dan Wilcox,
Aye.
Michael Goodman, Mark Langella,
Aye.
Anthony Lombardo,
Aye.
Michael Boyd.
Aye.
The motion does carry unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. Next item on the agenda, staff comments.
Just again, you have that quasi-judicial handout in front of you. If you have any questions or concerns about that, reach out to us. We can discuss anything. We might continue to tweak the process or how we present the information a little bit more going forward. We're still discussing that internally. Also, next month's Planning and Development Board meeting falls on Veterans Day, so it will be pushed to the immediate Wednesday following. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any board comments? Anybody from the public wishing to comment on anything that we did not discuss on this agenda tonight? Seeing none, we'll close public comments, and
Motion to adjourn.
we are in adjournment.
Third.
Third.